because we can't be with you in Frankfurt this year, we asked each of our authors to film a short elevator pitch talking about their novels. The only catch is they had to film it in an actual elevator.
Hi, I'm Rhett Davis, author of Hovering. It's a novel about 39-year-old expatriate Alice Wren, who flees home to southern Australia under mysterious circumstances. She finds her family behaving strangely and her hometown transforming itself. Residents wake up to a new city every day. When Alice is implicated in an international art fraud, the city unravels. Hovering won the 2020 Victorian Premier's Literary Award for an unpublished manuscript. The judges called it a gripping, kaleidoscopic novel that employs a dazzling variety of voices and devices. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Catherine Johns. My novel Maggie is set mainly in the late 1960s and it's based on my own experience. Maggie is 17, she's a boarder in a convent school and she becomes dazzled by the attentions of a Catholic priest. Their secret affair has disastrous consequences for Maggie and she's forced to reshape her life. Maggie's a story of trauma, but it's also a story about survival.
The Winter Dress is the story of Joe Baker, a Dutch expat living in Sydney who is called back to Holland to investigate the origins of a 17th century silk dress found on the bottom of the Wadden Sea by amateur divers. Joe's investigations lead her to Catharina van Schomen, a glass engraver long suspected of passing secrets to parliamentarian spies during the English Civil War. Joe has to work fast to uncover the truth before the damaged dress disintegrates, taking Catharina's secrets with it and her own.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Stafford, the author of The Imitator, which is a novel set at the beginning of World War II in London, and it involves a young woman named Evelyn who's recruited into MI5 and tasked with infiltrating a group of establishment and very wealthy English men and women who are sympathetic to the Nazis and are working towards an uprising in the event of a German invasion. And what seems a fairly straightforward investigation, at least morally for Evelyn, is made really complicated when people she is close to become embroiled in the investigation, and Evelyn has to make some really difficult decisions that have devastating consequences for herself and for those around her.
1944, German-occupied Paris. The French resistance pressure Auguste Dechaine to find a priest who's disappeared with a weapons cache. At the same time, a Wehrmacht major forces Dechaine to search for a missing German soldier, a possible deserter. To fail at either task would have deadly consequences for Dechaine and his daughter Marion, who's in a relationship with the Luftwaffe captain. The Paris Collaborator is the story of a simple man thrust into extraordinary circumstances and forced to determine if the cost of survival is worth betraying all he holds dear.
It's 1940. As war engulfs Europe, young Australian woman Lucy and her French mother find themselves trapped in German-occupied Paris. Using her artistic skills, Lucy engages in small acts of defiance against the occupying forces and collaborationist French authorities. As the situation worsens, Lucy must decide how far she'll go to help her Jewish friend Aline and her family in their fight to survive.
Hi, my name is Nicola Morani and I would love to tell you a bit about my latest novel, The Accident. The Accident is a dark domestic drama about family secrets, broken relationships and the ultimate betrayal. There's been a major car accident on the freeway on Christmas Eve and the big question is, who caused the accident? Was it the sleep-deprived parents or the reclusive teen? The mother who's turned to alcohol to cope or the grandmother who's in denial about her own family? Because somebody is to blame and they're not all going to make it out alive.
If you never get lost, you can never be found. My name's Meg Bignell, and my novel, Welcome to Nowhere River, is the story of a town that is really lost. The local ladies' club get together with a mad scheme to revitalise the town, and chaos ensues. The town is shaken up and turned upside down until secrets and scandals and hilarious situations come fluttering out. It's a heartfelt and funny story of a town where everyone knows everything, but no one really knows anyone at all.
The Survivors is an Australian mystery, this time set along the rugged coastline in Tasmania. It's set in a tiny community and there's a lot of small town intrigue and secrets to be uncovered in this one. It's a standalone, so it's very similar in tone and feel to my first three books, and should appeal to the same readers. But if you haven't read the first three, you can just jump right on in with this one. And yeah, I really enjoyed writing this one. It was a lot of fun to research and write, so I hope readers enjoy it too.
So The Last Guess is about a couple, Lena and Kane. They have a house on a lake that they barely use. It's a few hours from where they live in New Zealand. They decide to try to monetize the house and make a little bit of money out of it because it's not being used, so they set it up and put it on Airbnb. But what they don't realize is some of the guests aren't exactly who they say they are, and they begin to notice something a little bit odd about some of the people that have stayed and realize cameras have been installed in the house.
My name's Jack Heath and I'm the author of Hideout, a crime novel about a rogue FBI consultant who discovers a house full of killers, and instead of arresting anybody, he decides to murder them all.
I'm Anna George, and Tipping is a dark comedy about gender politics set at a local school when one mum reaches tipping point, thanks largely to her husband inadvertently locking her in the family car. Then and there, Liv Winston decides things need to change, from her boys' school to her husband's work to their half-happy, half-crappy marriage. Overwhelmed mother of three, Liv Winston is today's Shirley Valentine without the trip to Greece. And Tipping is a story of domestic activism, mum activism, because things can change. Sometimes all it takes is a tweak and the will and some fun.
Healing Lives is a book about two extraordinary women. One, Australian surgeon Catherine Hamlin, who went over to Ethiopia to set up a hospital to treat childbirth injuries of women or fistula. The other is Mamitu, a poor peasant girl from the highlands of the country whose life Catherine saved. The two women formed a strong friendship, and Mamitu started working at the hospital to show her gratitude. Eventually, under Catherine's tutelage, she became one of the world's greatest fistula surgeons, despite never having been to school for a single day or knowing how to read or write. This is their remarkable story.
Hello, my name is Yumiko and I'm a doctor. My book is called Emotional Female, which is what I was called at work one day. It's a memoir about the highs and lows of training to become a surgeon and what made me eventually walk away. I think a lot of people will relate to being trapped in a toxic workplace and burning out. Leaving my medical career was incredibly difficult because so much of my identity was tied to becoming a surgeon. But after years of putting my patients first, I knew I had to put myself first. Coming to peace with that decision and redesigning my life has been so liberating, and I can't wait to share it with you. By reading my book, I hope that you'll gain courage and optimism for the future, whatever your situation.
Hi there, I'm Taria, I'm an author, and I set out on a quest to discover whether or not happiness was a ridiculous aspiration. I discovered that happiness entails practicing gratitude, working on your kindness, strengthening your relationships, and accepting that bad days and bad times are part of the happiness package. Is it possible to become happier? You'll have to read the book to find that out.